I've had this deck for a little while. You're probably wondering why I'm showing you a 30 card deck when the standard meta is 20. Well, it's because of this card. You excavate card. Actually, you've probably seen it from the Naturia deck that the NPCs use. This deck uses it a little bit better. So it mills a ton of monsters because we only run 5 spell and traps. And every time you draw a dark monster, you're also throwing out some more fuel. And what we're using it for is to remove those monsters from play to destroy the enemy's monsters. So if they have like a level 1 through like 8 monster, to kill that level 1 monster, you remove 1 monster from your graveyard. So like, let's say they had Relinquished out. That's a super free kill for you. Then we also run Chaos Zone to take advantage of all those monsters we're banishing. Because every time you use this, you banish that amount of monsters for the amount of stars that you're of that monster that you're killing. And we also run 2 Necrofear. He's also gonna banish 3 more. So that's pretty solid. We run Dark Flare for fun, but we contribute with him, or we can banish 2 more monsters. We don't use the second effect though. From your hand, add 1 dragon. Yeah, we don't use that. We just have this in here for fun. Then we have 2 Necrofears to get around things like Guardian Statue. So if we're unlucky and get a really bad matchup. We also run another level 8 because we run 3 Doom Dogs. So might as well have 1 for each. You'll usually only get like 1 Doom Dog off, sometimes 2. So it's not really mandatory to run 3. And we run these to draw some more. These ones suck a little bit more because they have to die by battle, but they are Dark Fiends, which we really want. So we want Fiends because you have to banish 3 of them for the Dark Necrofear. Like everything, almost everything in here's a Dark Fiend. Like this is a Warrior Dark, but that doesn't matter too much. We'll mostly lead off with a Magical Merchant, a Mimic, or a Mimic level 3, or maybe even a Doom Dog, and we'll toss out another one with Fiend Farewell. Yeah, let's see. That's most of it. See, almost all of our monsters are dark. We do have a light monster and Magical Merchant, so it does help us get off our Dark Flare Dragon. But that's really not the main goal. It is pretty fun using him though. The long-term goal for this deck is we banish a bunch of cards with Skull Lair, we get out our Dark Necrofear, banish some more while pressuring the enemy. Maybe we'll get some special summons with Fiend Mega. But the big thing is this monster right here. So every time you banish a dark monster, and as long as it remains banished, you gain 300 attack and defense per dark monster. So also if this gets destroyed, you get all of your fuel back for Skull Lair. So as long as you can keep at least 1 Skull Lair on the field, you'll have a lot of utility, especially if you keep Chaos Zone on the field. So let's see. I suppose I might as well just go into the replays now so you guys can see it in action. Alright, we're gonna start off with one of my favorite matchups for this deck. Is versus Weevil back when 3-star demotion was the big thing. Well, I suppose Weevil, 3-star demotion, and Harpies were among the best. Don't raise our volume. Not too high. So I think this was during the World Qualifier matches? I don't really remember. This deck actually did really well in it, but I didn't use it that much. It looks a little different than it is now, but this variation works too. Invader Darkness actually puts in a lot of work, especially now. So I might even add him back in. That Empress didn't really do too much. Alright, so let's see. We got our Magical Merchant. He sent out this to continually poke, but that doesn't matter that much because we can flip our Magical Merchant, mill a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I was running this when 1800s were pretty common. He wouldn't be bad now, but he was better then. Okay, so we milled off 5 monsters. That's pretty good. I didn't tribute for Fiend Mega yet because I'm quite sure he has some masks of Restrict. I suppose I probably should have. I'm not really sure why I didn't. I guess I wanted to mill some more with Magical Merchant because that's really good. Oh, something else to note is that when you draw a Parasite, when you're milling yourself, it goes into his grave. Oh, I can't look at his grave. I wonder how far back this is. Yeah, so when you draw from like a special effect, it'll just go to his grave. Or if it's milling, it just goes to the grave. Doesn't get its effect off. Okay, so now I tribute for Fiend Mega. I'm holding on to Invader because I know he's gonna have a Mask of Restrict. They always have it. Okay, getting rid of Chaos Zone that early was very unfortunate. There's the mask, but I am running tributes, which are great versus Weevil. So now he's done for. There's nothing he can do. He goes for another mask. We have another tribute. I was running Chaos Necro in this deck. It works. It's not that bad. There was also more 3 stars at that time for Possessed Dark Soul. But yeah, this deck pretty much hard counters Weevil. It just functions so well versus it. And whenever he uses a Jade Insect Whistle, he searches out your Magical Merchant for you instead of actually damaging you. So this one was also still during the World Qualifiers. I think I actually went like 10-1 with this deck. Like I was within the top 1000, but I didn't really feel like spamming enough games to even try for the top. Who knows if I get it, but I did well during like Kaiba Cup and other events like that, so maybe I could have. And it would have been really cool to use this deck to like climb to the top. So even at this time it was pretty odd to see him poly that, but he did get a full field. I didn't want him to negate my monster. He uses OTC. Maybe he was suspecting the Magical Merchant, but it was actually a Doom Dog, so that's good for me. I got my search off. And Dark Veil starts doing its job, but only actually milled one thing. But that's enough. So I set this down so I could get my monsters back if he kills it, which he did, which is pretty good for me. Alright, time to mill some more. If you don't get a dark monster, the milling ends with Veil of Darkness. So I use 6 to kill his monster, then I use 4 to get my Doomsday back. I bring Doomsday back because he has a lot of utility. Like, he is a very good option to bring back. So if I actually mill 4 monsters, I could actually like refresh my graveyard by killing him myself using Skull Lair. Yeah, during that time, Rex really wasn't popular anymore, but it was kind of fun. So here's a one that I actually did today. This is versus Phoenix. I was thinking maybe he might be Tunes, which would be pretty lame, but no, he's Phoenix. So you have to be careful with your skull lair placements. Pretty sure I had like 2 misplays because I haven't used this deck in a long time. Yeah, I started out with 2 in my hand. Like, you don't even need to place the skull lair this soon. You can use it as a bluff. I mean, like, I already had another one in my hand, so it's not that big of a deal placing it. So he searches that out. Alright, start milling myself. Pretty good mill so far. It doesn't even matter that much which monsters you mill, as long as you get a decent amount into the grave. So this is actually a super good mill. I have so many options with Skull Lair now. Like, I could easily just blow up all of his monsters right now. You do want to get Chaos Zone out first, so you can start getting counters on it. He tries to Wild Tornado it, but if you chain it, your effect will go off first. And of course I'm making sure to get my big monsters into the grave first. So, I can't look at it. Okay, this is the cost. So you want to get rid of things like Necrofear, Doomsday, Fiend Mega, and I believe in the earlier one, yeah, I got rid of Empress. So any monster that's level 4 or higher, you're going to want to mill for Chaos Zone before you mill the lower levels. And you don't want to mill your Magical Merchant because he's light, and you want to save him for your Dark Flare Dragon if you can. But also, you want to get rid of your Dark type monsters first too, so your Doomsday Horror gets as strong as possible. Alright, so I'm activating it. I went with Empress. It's fine. It didn't matter too much what I picked. Like, I still have a lot of fuel in the grave. Yeah, it's probably best I went with her first, because she's stronger. Oh, did I not use my Skull Lair there? Yeah, I feel like that was one of the big misplays. So like, I could easily just destroy the Phoenix, and then well, I couldn't revive anymore. Well, okay, he destroys. Yeah, I could have milled to destroy Phoenix. I think I just wanted to keep my fuel, because I was already down a low number of cards, so I wanted to like save that utility for my grave, because now I have another Skull Lair and I could start using that. So destroying Phoenix in this situation isn't that bad. It's only at 100 life points. And then I get my Doomsday Horror. I could have tributed, but it's like I actually it says failed because he just like he forfeited as soon as I hit that thing. But I was gonna do 100 damage exactly with my Dark Mimic. Perfect. Lethal. I wish I could go back just a little. Does it tell me how strong he was? I believe he is at 4,500. So it's a pretty beastly monster to get out. Let's see. So some things to keep in mind. You'll obviously want to open with him if you can, but for safety purposes you could also start with Doomdog. So basically you get your Doomdog killed, and whenever you have a Fiend die, Let's just bring up the skill. Okay, when one of your monsters is destroyed in battle, one random fiend type is milled from your deck. So I did have it glitch on me once and send a merchant, so that kind of sucked. But usually it reliably sends out something like, well, just any of your fiends. You run a lot of fiends in this deck. But the good part about that is, so let's say you have like a Karibo, one of these, and then, I don't know, like one of these and one of these. It seems like kind of a bad hand for most decks, but it's not that bad for this one. Because with, like, even though you don't have Magical Merchant, you could have your Doom Dog die, use Fiend Farewell, and then you could hold on to a Karibo, or you could just like use them to negate something, and maybe you'll draw a tribute and you could tribute the dog, and you still get your search off. So then you'd be able to search your Necrofear, and with Karibo, this, or wait, you probably just want to let the dog die, because you could use Fiend Farewell, have the dog in your grave, and the next turn, like you'll end up getting a third one into your grave, and you'll be able to special summon Necrofear, and that threatens a lot of decks really well. I mean, it's not that great versus something like Guardian Statue, which you will see, but you'll probably have a good idea if you should summon him or not. Let's see. Well, let's go on to some ranked duels.
Music Studio.